Good afternoon. Welcome to another Presidential Employment Stimulus Package engagement session from the NFEF. My name is Botsima Tlala, and I am joined today to my right, our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Zanukolo Koyana, as well as our funding manager, Mr. Mlamli Kama. So today's session will be quite an interactive session where we will engage with the various stakeholders or anyone that has questions. Just to give you an overview of what will happen, we'll give a brief presentation with regards to the application process. We will also address some questions that were not addressed in our last session. Then we will have an open line of questions. We will take 3 questions at a time. Please feel free to post your questions on YouTube, on our Facebook page, as well as on the portal on WebEx. When you do want to post a question on WebEx, please just chat or rather type the question at the bottom right. There is a chat option there. So without any further ado, we can resume. I will hand over to Mr. Mlamli Kama just to give us an overview of the application process.
Thank you, Butse. Good day, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for coming to watch us and to see how the whole process works. I'm going through the application process. The whole application is in fact done online on our website, www.nfef.co.za. If you go to a website, you will see the call there, Presidential Employment Stimulus Program, and it's been extended with a new deadline of the 10th of December 2020 at midnight, 23:59. We have I'm going to go through the whole application process, looking at because we've decided to divide it into 4 streams, which is stream 1, production; stream 2, skills development; stream 3, industry; and stream 4, business recovery. So I'm going to try to go through to take you through the whole process on each stream in terms of how to apply, to make sure that people apply as much as possible and don't get stuck. Now, as I said, to apply, you log on to our website. If you are on our website, www.nfef.co.za, on top there, you will see a blue sort of click that says online application now, and then there's a green thing that says click here. And then once you click there, and then it takes you through to our online application, portal, which is Praxis. Now, the first thing when you are on Praxis, if you look in fact, that will be my left-hand side. If you look at my left-hand side, there's a little box in there that says, it will either say log in or register. If you click in fact, the first thing you do is to register in there. Once you click register, it will give you 4 questions, which is 1, your name; 2, your surname; 3, your email address; and 4, it will give you just a small additional question as to, for example, 2 + 3 = 2, just to assess that it really is talking to a real person. And then once you click there, immediately the system will generate you, using your email address that you put it in there, will generate you a password, which then you save. But I would like, before you even go in there, I would like, if you look at that at the page that you see in there, that application, Praxis application, if you look down there or somewhere in the middle, it says link to the employment stimulus call, and I would really like you to click in there, because that's where now you get full details about the call. In there, it's divided. I mean, if you look, the first part of it, we'll talk about the overview of what the call is all about. And then the middle part, we'll talk about the streams, all the 4 streams that I've touched on earlier on in a bit detail as to what stream is all about. And then the next session will tell you about the requirements that are required for each stream. So one of the challenges we get is that people, by the time, in fact, my preference would be by the time you go into this page where now you are doing the whole registering that I've spoken about, I would really like to make sure that you have read through the entire overview and you've read through the screens and you've made sure as to what selection, what stream you really want to select into. And then once you then decide on that, the next step is to make sure you have all the required documents or the requirements for that screen. If you have all that ready, then the next step should literally take you, I would say, 5-7 minutes. Okay. As I said, once you've logged in, and then the system will give you a password. Once it gives you a password, you click OK. Once you click OK, then immediately it now takes you to that page where now you have all those 4 streams. And I would imagine by the time you're here, you already know exactly which stream to select, whether it's production open call, it's skills development call, or it's industry call, or it's business recovery call. So you then click on apply for whatever stream you're applying for. And then immediately there, it then takes you to the registration details where you register the details of your project. It will ask you quite a few questions in there. And then immediately from there, then it gives you to the next section, which is allocating you the project number. So that will be the project number that you save, so that with all your additional queries regarding the progress of your application, then you can then call us quoting that reference number. Okay, moving on from there, then the system takes you now to the full application process, which is now where the full details of your application lies. It will ask about you, it will ask about the project that you're referring to, it will ask about all the requirements, the uploads, documents. Remember, as I said, each stream has got its own requirements. Hence, it's very, very important that by the time you come to the stage, you know exactly and you've planned all your uploads so that this whole process doesn't take you that long. Ideally, it should take you about 5-7 minutes at the most. Okay. We have done some few changes to our application system recently, and we've listened to the industry, to the challenges that people have been getting, which some of them have led us to make decisions in terms of extending the call. And yeah, just to take you briefly on stream 1, 2, and stream 4, you will notice that the forms have changed a little bit. We reassessed the forms, we reworked them, we shortened them, we removed some repetitive requirements and some requirements that we felt were not necessarily that necessary. So we had to make sure that all the requirements fit or match exactly what is on the call. So we have now refined, because we had a number of queries where people were complaining that the form or the requirements are too much. The uploads, some of them were, like I said, were repetitive. So we really worked to stream it down to make sure that it really speaks to what we really want out of the application. And then on stream 3, which is the industry call, we have done also some major changes in there. We listened to the questions, the queries, what the industry was saying in terms of including some of the sections that they felt were excluded. For example, we've included the marketing and distribution, we've included the festival hosting, we've included the outdoor and indoor screening in a way to try and expand that stream to meet as much stakeholders that fit within it as possible. And yes, we've adjusted requirements, like I said, to be suitable for those services I've just spoken about. And yes, and all that have then, with many other decisions that have decided to make us to extend the date so that people could have a little bit more of time to apply. But we really request people to apply on time, just to make sure that you can call us on time and be able to confirm everything is received properly. Some of the compulsory documents, like I said, each stream has got its own requirements in terms of what are requirements, but there are some compulsory documents. I'm not going to go deep into it. They are on the call. But it is very, very important. If you are an individual and you're applying for an individual, please look at what are the requirements that are required for an individual and upload them correctly. And also, if you're a company, please read very carefully. If it says certified copy of an ID, please make sure you certify that copy. It's one of those small things that people tend to forget, and it comes to bite them at a later stage. And yes, I think that then sums up my presentation. In terms of reaching us, I'm going to repeat our website is nfvf.co.za, and then for application is https://nfvf.praxisgms.co.za. Praxis GMS spelled as praxisgms.co.za. And then you can contact us on applications@nfvf.co.za, or you can contact one of our two application officers, which is Tandekile h@nfvf.co.za or Manti s@nfvf.co.za. Alternatively, you can call us. We are available on 011 483 0880. I would imagine that then sums up my presentation. Thank you, and over to you, Butsa.
Thank you, Mlandi. As alluded to earlier, we will be answering some of the questions that were posed at the last engagement session, wherein we did not have an opportunity to answer them. So the first question I will pose to Yolanda or Refilwe, between the two of you. The question says, if you're doing a TV show and have outlined everything in the treatment visually and audibly, do you still need a script?
Yolanda, can you please respond?
Okay, I thought Rufilo was trying to, I think she's on mute. So, yes, we need both. I mean, both the script and the treatment if you're applying for a TV show, because the script and the treatment are not necessarily the same thing. The treatment will mostly be your creative in terms of how the director is planning to treat the film. What is their artistic approach to the film, whereas the script then will be a script. So I think we do need both. If you have both, so please do send both of them.
Yolanda, refer any additional input also for what Yolanda said? Can you hear me, Yolanda? Oh, sorry, refer. Then you unmute. Are you able to talk, refer? All right, it's fine. Let's go to the next question.
All right, we'll just move on to the next question. This question is also posed at Yolanda. Can we get funding for a teaser for a short film? Because technically producing a teaser is a production on its own.
That is not disqualified, but I think as long as they can get to employing a minimum of 10 people, and it has to be over the period of 3 months. So I'm not really sure if a teaser will take up to 3 months. You have to ensure that you're employing the people over a period of 3 months, and that you're employing a minimum of 3 people.
Thank you. The next question is posed to our CFO. What should be in the detailed budget?
All right. I think this question is coming out from different people. I think the important thing to note, we had indicated that we want filmmakers to be able to create employment. So when you put together your costing of the project, you must cover what will help you to be able to make sure that you are creating employment. So you will indicate in your response that these are the things that will enable us to be able to create employment, because the important thing is that you need to create employment, but also you need to indicate what will enable you as a filmmaker to create employment. So you must be clear to us so that when we respond to whatever, like our panel, when they adjudicate, they will also look in terms of the employment you're going to create, what are the enable factors that you will take into consideration to help you to create that employment. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is also posed at Yolanda and Rifile, whoever may assist. Why are the two uploads asking for the production schedule, one with development and production and one just for production?
In terms of, as much as we are looking for ready for projects that are ready to go into productions, there are projects that might need one more polish. So then you need to take that into account, that maybe you are still on the last stages of your development, whether you need 2 weeks or 3 weeks just before you then able to start a production. So which will then cover your development if then there's a need.
Thanks.
I hope I've answered that.
Yeah, I think you clarified, because I think it's covering what we have received as a question. Thanks. Yes, there's a follow-up from the film. Thanks.
Next question. If the project is animation, a series, production of videos for a learning program for kids, but does not have developed scripts, could this still be eligible?
I mean, I think if you don't have a script for an animation, you still must have a concept document, as well as a treatment and some visuals that you've already started working on to show that you have done the development work already, and that when you do get the funding, you can actually start then working on your animation. So there is still documents that are required. Might be a treatment and a concept, as well as your storyboards and everything.
Thank you. Next question. Lamli, does the fund include filmmaking equipment?
Look at the fund. I mean, it's specified there as to what primarily it's for job creation and job retention. That's what it's intended for primarily. However, we will look, I mean, I believe the evaluating team, the panel will look at some of the things that are required. I mean, for you to create jobs, you really need certain equipments, etc. So, but that is not a primary focus of the fund. So, but it is important that you put it in your budget when you're doing all your budgeting. It's an element that the panel evaluating team will look at it, but I cannot promise that there will be funding for it. Thank you.
All right. Can I just also add in? I think in my response earlier on, I had indicated that when a filmmaker is giving us their projects, we indicated that we need to make sure that you create jobs, but also indicate what are the cost factors that will enable you to create those jobs that are needed by the industry. So, of course, the question about the equipment, because you might need to say we are going to use a camera. So that's part of the job creation, because the cameraman who's going to be coming there is going to be part and parcel of the people who are working, and also the equipment that is needed. Hence, I indicated in putting together the proposal, indicate what are the jobs you're going to create, what is the cost of those jobs, and also what will enable you to create those jobs. Then that's important thing, so that we can ensure that we assist the filmmaker. That's the intention of this thing. But bearing in mind that the main core expenditure of this thing is about the employment creation, and also to make sure that we pay those salaries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Another question posed to yourself, Zanokolo. For skills development stream, do we need to draft a finance plan?
Yeah, I think it's the same answer for all, because we need to cost anything that is going to be submitted, because you cannot submit a proposal without any cost attached to it. So everything must have cost that is attached to it. So it means you must have that finance plan. Thanks.
Okay, and the last question on with regards to the last session's questions goes to Mlamli. What will happen to the applications that are more than halfway filled in praxis?
we always encourage applicants to, like I said in my presentation, by the time you apply, please make sure you have all your uploads and required documents. And remember, on the system generated a project number for you, so you can use that project number it will take you to your application, and then you complete your application. We'll really recommend people to please apply on time and fill those applications. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mlamli. We have come to an end, and we've addressed the questions from that were raised at the last engagement. We are moving on now to our open line. If we could just take questions on our open line.
I think also there are questions that have been sent, which we will need to deal with. The questions that have been asked, there was one about the budget, which we had already responded to, which was asking about the budget and salary and operational cost. We have already responded to that question. And there is a question about I'm applying for skills development under an NPO, which is tax exempt. The tax exemption, of course, you will need to submit a tax exemption certificate if you are an NPO that is tax exempt. So that will be the response to that question. And then the other one, can you take other questions? What happens if one has shot a film already and need just marketing and distribution? Which applications do we use? Can you assist the Nomazulu or Yolanda? Question is, what happens if one has shot a film already and need just marketing and distribution? Which application do we use?
Okay, so that applicant would then fall under stream 3, which is marketing and distribution.
Okay, we have another question. It says, hi there. To those who have already submitted, should we resubmit to meet the adjusted requirements?
If you have submitted, remember, the adjusted requirements are not necessarily to exclude the people who have submitted. If you have submitted, because the adjusted requirements, in fact, are shortening what was required previously. So I would imagine if you submitted already, you should not have any reason to panic. You should be okay. Thanks.
Thank you. A question we'd like to pose to Yolanda. What happens if one has shot a film already and needs just marketing and distribution?
I think we have answered that.
Okay.
I think there is a question that says, on stream 1, could I still put forward an application for production, even though we do not have full polished script? Maybe submit first 10 pages of the script. Can the budget then include a small fee for development purpose? Yolanda, please assist.
I mean, if you're talking about a feature and you've got 10 pages, that means that script is not fully developed. Unless you're talking about a 15-minute or a 10-minute short film, which would become something totally different. But let's assume that you're talking about a feature. So if you submit 10 pages of a script, that means that script has not yet developed, is not yet developed. Polishing a script is a script that has gone through development. However, there's a few adjustments that needs to be made, maybe 1 or 2 more drafts. So it's not the same thing as giving us the 10-page script.
Okay. Here's another question. What if the production team, i.e. the script writer, doesn't have experience? What if you have done projects, but they're only on YouTube? Will you be able to fund these? Yolanda?
So in terms of the things that are allowed be funded. We did say that web series are allowed, so I would assume then that the applicant is talking about a serialized content that they would have had on YouTube, or they do regular content on YouTube, and in which case it is not disqualified. It does fall within what is allowed, as long as they're quite clear in terms of where they are with their concept, and the budget is clear and it follows all the other requirements. It will be considered.
Just to follow up on web series, Yolanda, should they then submit a pilot script, or should they submit the whole series script?
I think submit everything that you have so far, because I think, I mean, if the pilot script is the only thing that is finished, but you then need to submit a clear treatment plan for each and every other episode thereafter, outlines and treatment for the other episode. And if you've got a script for each and every episode, then just submit that. But you definitely do need to give us a script for at least the first 2 episodes. Yeah, I hope I've answered that as well.
Thank you. The next question, Noma Zulu, I think maybe you can assist with this one. Since we are expecting outcomes in January, how are we going to be able to start the project in January for it to be 3 months?
Hi, thanks, Butse. I think we clarified this last week, that it was tied also to the question about the commencement of the contract and the commencement of the project. And again, let me reiterate that your project essentially starts at the point that you're contracted. And that assumes that this is when we tell you that you are successful, we've given you a letter of commitment or a contract, and what follows there is the disbursement of the funds. So the project essentially starts from that point on.
Okay. Next question. What is the COVID plan that is aligned to the Department of Health?
Okay, so for this, applicants are encouraged to go to the website of the Department of Health, the Department of Employment and Labor, and look at the guidelines of what the safety requirements are, and according to which level of COVID risk management or risk adjusted strategy is in the country. And if you then wish to have a sector specific, there's a number of sector organizations like the IPO, like SASFED, that have adapted those COVID safety plans that you can refer to.
Yeah, another question for you, Noma Zulu. Can the same project be submitted both to the NAC and the NFVF for possible shortfall in production costs?
Again, we had addressed this situation this last week, but now the answer to this is immaterial because the NAC's applications closed on the 27th of November.
Here's another question, Yolanda and Refilwe. Does Stream 1 also include actors in the budget, or do you only allocate for crew members?
Refilwe, can you assist?
Okay, no problem. So we are looking to fund people who are going to be part of the crew. So actors are not included. We do obviously expect the full budget to see what line items you'll be covering. But for the better part, we are looking to fund the crew. NAC had an application, and in that application, they had made provisions for actors and all of that.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question, CFO. Is there a limit to the amount one can apply for?
I think we had discussed the matter in the last 2 engagements, and we will clarify again today. The NFVF does not have a cap where we say you are limited to apply, let's say, for 200%. What we need is for the company to demonstrate to NFVF that you will create this number of jobs. Remember, we are targeting 8,000 jobs. We have 100 million for creation of new jobs. We've got 40 million for retention of the existing job that were affected by the COVID, which is under stream number 4. So therefore, apply and indicate to us which jobs, and then you align and also indicate clear, as we explained previously. You must indicate to us what will enable you to create the jobs. Well, I think that's key, which has been a question that keep on coming back. So we do not have caps.
CFO, what is the minimum amount that an individual can apply for?
I just answered. So there's no caps.
Okay. All right. Next question goes to Yolanda. In a 13-episode TV series, is a script necessary for every episode, or will a breakdown per episode be acceptable? Yolanda?
Yolanda. Oh, sorry. Apologies, Yolanda.
Sorry.
Are you able to speak now?
Hi, sorry, I was on mute. I think we again, it's the same thing with a web series. We do need to see at least the first 2 episode in terms of the scripts, and the rest can then be treatment and outlines.
Next question, Yolanda. It's not clear if we should include a developmental budget to the requested budget, or the script needs to be developed. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I think we have addressed this before. Again, we did say that we are looking for fully developed scripts. So which is we're looking for scripts that are ready to go into production.
And can you just clarify, Yolanda, what the answer you gave on actors in terms of the budget, does the same go for presenters?
Presenters are also talent. Remember, just to add on what Refilo was saying, we are paying crew, and therefore, or any performance, including cast and presenters, will then be classified the same. But nonetheless, we still do want to see the overall budget to understand how much is being spent where.
Is it allowed for 2 production companies to collaborate for the stimulus?
Yes, it is.
With regards to documentaries, is a script required?
With regards to documentary, we had asked for a creative treatment and an outline.
Okay. Next question to Mlamli. It says, with regards to stream 3 on Praxis, you're required to fill in the film details as well as a synopsis, a plot, etc. But we're doing an outdoor screening project. What should we fill in that tab?
Yeah, I think that question was based on the on the scenario before we made amendments and changes, because then we've made amendment and changes when we realized that there is a lot more of needs in terms of that stream. So now, if I would really ask the applicant or the person who asked the question to go back to Praxis and see, they will see that now the requirements have been streamlined into exactly what is required for whatever requirements that they're applying for. Thanks.
And Mlamli, with regards to an applicant, if it's an individual, is the personal tax number okay to use?
That would be okay, yes.
Okay. Thank you. The next question, Refilwe, does the production call include unscripted shows like reality shows?
At the moment, we are taking all kinds of content. So yes.
Okay. The next one, Refilwe, can I apply for both production and marketing and distribution?
You can apply for different streams, so it won't all be under the same application. I think Yolanda indicated that The marketing and distribution stream falls under stream 3. It's got its own separate requirements. And then for production, that's stream 1. That's also got its own separate requirements.
Okay.
Other questions?
Do we have any more questions?
Are you able? You don't have any questions? Can we get other questions from the industry players, please, so that we can address whatever clarities you need? Because we have exhausted all the questions sent to us, so we are requesting you to please send us any other additional questions you need.
Here is a comment. Rofile, please could you assist? It says, I don't understand why actors are excluded. They are central to filmmaking. They are artists specific to the visual arts. Please could you just address that comment?
Butze, hi. Can I just please provide some clarity on that? In Yolanda's subsequent comment, and I think this is again something that we communicated last week, and you will find, or you would have found that in the NAC's call, screen actors were not included. It therefore then called for the NFVF to not exclude actors. And this is then what Yolanda summarized to say, well, presenters and actors and cast are talent that are not necessarily excluded from this call. So let's just clarify that. I'm aware that there could have been a bit of confusion, but the clarity we want to provide is that they are not excluded for the call. So you may include them as part of your costs in as far as your budget line items are concerned. Yeah.
Thank you, Norma. Next question. When pitching for a feature film production funding, is the funding that will be paid out to be used solely for payment of the production crew, or can it include costs of other elements?
All right. I think in my earlier engagement on the question of the budget, I have addressed that because the issue is about company must create employment, but also it's important they must indicate to us what will enable the company to be to create those jobs, because there are enable factors that will assist you. So I think this question talks to that exactly. So we have addressed it. You must clearly indicate what are those elements that will assist you to create the jobs, and then you factor them in when you are making your application in your budget. Thank you so much.
Okay, we have a question that is coming up quite a lot. It was addressed last time, but I'm just going to ask that it's addressed again. It says, can one apply for multiple projects in the same stream? For example, a documentary and a series?
Within the same stream, you can put in multiple applications, but obviously there will be a panel that is going to sit and look at all of the applications that have come in. I think because we are trying to even out the spread and make sure that we are able to support as many companies as possible, there is a possibility that even though, for instance, you might have put in a project for 2 feature films or a documentary and a feature film, that only one could be approved, just so that we make sure that we even the spread as much as possible. But you are not limited as far as putting in the application. The approval is, yeah, something completely separate.
No, sorry, I'll ask that question again. My apologies. The next question says, we submitted to the section called TV pilots. We submitted a script and a budget accordingly. We were not aware of the requirements for 2 episodes. May we reopen our application to add an episode? Rofile?
Okay, so it depends on what it is that you're applying for. So if you are applying for the pilot episode, which is the first episode of your television series, then the application is fine as is. But if you do want to tweak the application, then you can just drop an email to applications@nfef.co.za or Tandekile. We've got the social media and basically the people, the contact people for applications who can then just open up that application until the closing date.
Thank you, Refile. Here's a question for Nomazulu. With regards to distribution, if you have a short film already, are you still eligible for distribution?
Yes, remember all distribution concepts are covered under stream 3. So you don't necessarily have to have, it doesn't have to be a new project that you are embarking on. That is why we specifically have the 4 streams. So the answer to that, yes, but it would have to be under stream 3, which covers distribution.
Thank you. Next question, Zanukolo. I just registered my business and I was told that I can't get a tax clearance if my business is new from both the bank and SARS. What do I do? Do I still continue to apply as a company or as an individual? And will this influence the funding amount I receive?
Strange, because SARS does give people tax if you open a new business. There might be reasons for someone not qualifying, but I think we indicated in our engagement previously that you can apply as a company or you can apply as an individual, because we have people who are freelancers who don't necessarily have companies, but they do the gigs. So there's nothing wrong to apply as an individual, but I think it's important to ensure that you address the compliance in terms of the taxes, to ensure that you go to SARS and clarify whatever issues you have. At least we still have 10 days. Actually, you call SARS, not necessarily go, because of COVID now, it's not allowed to go there. So maybe call SARS and then get clarity of whatever you need to.
Sorry, Mutsa, can I just add, because I was losing Zanukolo towards the end there. If for this particular person asking, then their individual tax status is intact, then and they find that you're not getting quick service at SARS, then you can apply as an individual, and it has no influence or bearing whatsoever, because in this call, both individuals and companies are treated with the same weighting.
Thank you, Noma. Zanukolo, can we have transport and equipment hire in the budget?
I think we are repeating the same question, but it comes at different angles. We have indicated earlier on when we were explaining that when you submit costing for your project, it's important when you submit costing for a project to make sure that you create employment, but at the same time you indicate what are the enable factors or elements that will assist you to create that employment. So make sure that you include all the necessary costs that will help you to achieve the objectives of creation of employment when you submit your proposal to NFF. Thank you so much.
Okay. Here's another question. Also with regards to costs. It says for outdoor screenings, does the budget include operational costs and licensing fees as well as screening rights?
I think we have already answered that.
All right. We are currently shooting a 13-episode TV series for a community TV station. The station is not paying for the content. Can we still apply for funding? We already have a broadcast agreement with the station.
Yes, the applicant can, because that is basically content creation.
Another question, Rufile. The challenge for me was the 20-page treatment and half a page synopsis. What if your treatment is not more than 20 pages?
Okay. I think given that we do have an extension, I would encourage the applicant to potentially use these few days that are still left to further refine the work and make sure that there's enough content as possible, because if we are looking for projects that are production ready, so it does then become difficult to assess a project where the information that has been given is scant. So I think if possible, can the applicant just try add in more information, as much information as possible, just so that the panel is comfortable that the project is ready to go into production.
I think also just to add on what Refilwe has alluded to, it's important that even the pages that you have provided, you are clear in terms of content to help the panel to make its decision. But of course, the number of pages that we propose, we wanted to make sure that the company is able to cover everything that will assist the panel to make its decision. So whatever you do, cover everything that is important to make sure that it's clear whatever you are proposing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question says, can you apply with a production company that is not in good standing with the CIPC?
I think compliance is important. So it means people must fix the compliance issues, because you cannot apply with a company that is being deregistered. Thanks.
Okay. Do we have any more questions?
Can we get other questions from the film industry, please? Because all the questions asked, we have responded to.
I think Zanokano and Butse and colleagues at NFEF, there was a question about what is excluded in the budget for the production call. That we confirm that there's crew, there's cast, there's gear, etc., things like accommodation, etc. And the question then goes further to say, is there anything that is not included? And I think there, the principal, Zanokolo has explained that you have to demonstrate all the input factors that enable you to create an employment opportunity. So that becomes then your total cost of employment per se. So I think then if we depart from that principle, then it begins to explain what issues you need to display in your application that will assist a decision making process.
I think we have come to an end of our session. We have tried to respond to the question, but this is not the end. We are encouraging the industry to submit questions still to us via the emails, via our social media platforms. And also, we want to inform the industry. We will be going out this week to visit different provinces. Of course, we will communicate that in our communication channels, indicating which province we're going to be visiting, because we want to go to people and explain. And in those visits, we expect people to respect Department of Health protocol in terms of the COVID-19. So we will be there explaining everything, and we will appreciate that you as members of the industry, you spread the word for us. Provinces to be visited include the Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, Northwest, and Mpumalanga. Thanks. I think maybe if we check our website, we'll have all those details in terms of those provinces that we're going to be visiting. We will communicate with our communications team. Thank you so much. We will hope that you will assist us to increase the numbers. We are still short of the numbers, so please apply and we will be able to assist you, and call if you've got problems with the application process. Mlamli and the team is here. Thank you so much.